compared to down here. Isn't that cool? So does anybody have any questions so far? Now I want to show you how well these blend onto black, because I just love it on a black surface. I just think they're so cool. Okay, we're going to put these to the side. We'll make up some cards in just a few minutes, but we're going to put this to the side. You guys like? Isn't that cool? Happy birthday, Miss Cindy. We're making birthday cards in your honor. I think we have another birthday girl in the house today too. Okay, so let me see here. When I sit down to make cards like this, I always pull out, in my stash, I always pull out some scraps. So we have this piece. I want to show you how that works too. And then I'm just going to pull out, I have this this piece of black that's been embossed. And this is a Huddlebug embossing folder. Let me show it to you. It's really cool. It's called it's from the James set. So this is the one we're going to use. I thought it matched our stencil really well. See, they match really well. Okay, so what we're going to do is I want to take this yellow, and I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to use the other side of this. I'm going to show you guys how awesome these are for mixing onto black. So I'm just going to come in and put a little yellow right here, and I'm just going to take a moistened paintbrush. Let me just get a little bit of water here. I don't want it wet, I just want it moist. I don't want it like dripping wet. And I'm just going to start blending this out. And look at how awesome. This gives you a really neat chalkboard effect. Isn't this cool? So we've used them on a white surface, we've used them on a gesso surface, and now we're using them on a black surface. So I'm going to go with the blue. There's the blue. And we'll go to purple. This would make a really cool masculine card. We're sticking with the colors that we have from our kit. This is the tropical set of gelatos. And we'll go back to yellow. And then we'll go to, I guess it's blue. And we'll go back to yellow, blue, pink up at the top. Now look at how cool that is. Look at that cool. Isn't that cool? You're eating ice cream now because of the gelatos? Or you just eating ice cream? You guys are killing me. I want ice cream, but I lost another 2 pounds today, so I'm not eating ice cream. I'm on a roll. Okay, see how cool that is? You see how cool that is? Isn't it awesome? Love, love, love it. Love it. Okay. So we've done 3 different surfaces. Do you guys want to see how to paint with them now? We talked about mixing the colors to avoid mud, or, you know, but sometimes mud is exactly what you want. I mean, I was locked in a hotel room and needed to do some stuff one time, and all I had, just say, all we have is these 3 colors. And you want to paint a tree. So let me show you how to effectively mix the colors to achieve what you want. So we're going to take another piece of the watercolor paper, and I'm going to use the smooth side, not the textured side this time. You made a whole bunch of mud the other night? Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to do one as a no-no to show you how you get mud. Hold on. Well, we're going to make mud on purpose in just a minute. Let me put all of this white away. Now this technique I really was dying to show you guys. Look at this. This was all painted with gelatos. And it was painted with these colors of gelatos. Isn't this cool? So I'm going to show you guys how to do this. Okay? So this is what we did. This is what I did. You want a brush that has, it's kind of round. You want a brush that is specifically made. I think it works better if it's made for watercolor. So I'm going to pull out, I just have some, these are very, very inexpensive brushes, and this one is a number 4 round. Okay, so it's not a terribly big. Okay, and for this example, I have a palette over here to the side. Put this away. We're going to need our Pitt pen for this. And I'm going to put all of this away. This takes some time. That's why I saved the best for last. Okay, so what we want to do is I'm going to put this aside. I don't need the blue for now, and I'm going to need the yellow. So I want to create brown. And we all know that when you mix a warm color with a cool color, because we went over this earlier, that we end up with brown. Well, sometimes brown is exactly the color you want. So watch what happens when we mix a little bit of this yellow here with the purple. I'm just going to do a dark ring of purple around the edge. And this purple might not be dark enough to make it the color I want, but you guys will get the idea. Now I'm just going to take a little bit of water and spritz it onto my mat, and I'm going to mix these colors together. And as I start to mix them, they are going to start turning brown. Right now it's a nice pink color because I don't have enough purple. So let me add a little more purple. I need a really good dose of purple here. And this purple has a lot of pink in it. I might have to switch to a different purple, but we'll see. See what happens. Let's see here. I think I'm going to have to switch to a little bit darker purple, but then we're going to go, let's add a little more greenish yellow to it. Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting brown. We just needed a little bit of yellow. Put a little more water in there. Now the more water we add, the more diluted our color becomes. Okay? So be careful with that. Now I want to show you the color. I just got this little paper towel here. And right now we have this kind of a light brown peachy color. See that? So we've made mud. We've basically made a taupey brown. Okay? Now let's add a little bit of blue to it because it's really warm now. Let's add a little bit of blue to it. See what we get. Oh yeah, now we're getting there. This is what happens when you mix colors from warm and cool color palettes, okay? So I'm going to pull this, I'm just going to take a little palette knife here, and I'm going to pull all this together so it's concentrated. It's hard to see, I know, on this Tim mat, but we have a really nice kind of tawny color, okay? Now, I really want my brush to be really good and wet when I do this. And I'm going to use the smooth side. Move these out of the way. I'm going to use the smooth side of this watercolor paper. And the cool thing about watercolor paper is that watercolor paper does not bleed out until water is applied to it. So when I'm drawing this, I want a branch to come, and I'm going to skip some areas and just kind of, you know, leave some holes so I can add some flowers. And I want this to kind of come down just a little bit. Okay? And I'm turning my brush so that the flat side comes out and it's making some little spindly like branches. And then just for a visual reference, I'm going to draw another one coming up this way. Very light touch. Super, super light touch. Now that's just going to give me a visual reference for, that's just giving me a visual reference. Okay? And we've literally made mud, but that's okay. Now I'm going to use a different brush now because I don't want to contaminate the brown. And I'm going to take my pink and I'm going to add it off over here to the side. Okay? And I'm adding quite a bit of it. Now I'm going to take some water and just here off to the side a little bit, I'm going to squirt a little bit of water. Anybody can do this, guys. Anybody can do this. I'm going to pick up the water with the brush, get it good and moist, and I'm going to grab out some of this pigment and pull it off to the side. Now this is how you can make your gelatos into a nice watercolor. And all I'm doing is adding water to make them fluid, like paint. The more water I add, the more translucent they become. Now I want to create, keep your hands clean for this because you don't want your card to be all gunked up. Now I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add some blossoms. So I'm just going to pull out, there's my first one. Can you guys see it? You'll see them as I keep adding to it. I'm going to come out, it's a 5-petal blossom. So I'm just dragging the paintbrush down, dragging it across until I get 5 petals. So I've got 4 there, and I'll come back this way. Okay, so I have 5 petals there. You guys see it? It's very pale. No sound. You guys hear me now? Okay, so now I want to take and put a little bit of, so I have 5 petals here. Very pale, very pale. I'm going to put 5 more over here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now over here, I'm going to put 3, only 3. I'm going to come up here and go, because this is going to give us a perspective, like the flowers turn to the side. Okay? So there I've got 3. So this is what we have now. You guys see that? They're very pale, but they'll get darker. Okay, now I'm going to pick up a little bit more over here and put 1 more. And this is going to be another 3. And it basically, it's like painting out a heart. See? You guys see it? Okay, so now I want to add a little bit of darkness to this. So I'm just going to pick up a little spot of water, and I'm going to come back to my rich pigment color, and I'm going to load my brush up with color. And this time, I am going to start at the center and pull outwards, and see how it's starting to get a little darker. And I'm just barely touching in the center of this flower, because I really want the delicate leaf to be the outer part. Then I'm going to grab some water, and then just from the tip that's the palest, I'm going to push into, and that's going to cause it to run. So I'm going from the outer to the in. With the dark color, I went from the in to the outer. Okay? And notice how this is not bleeding anywhere. It's staying in the area it needs to stay in, because there's no water anywhere else. Everything else is dry. Okay? You guys see that? Yes, you can. Don't say you can't, because the brush does it for you. The secret is the brush. See how this brush tip is? You see this? all you're doing is pushing out. That's it. And you're letting the paint form the petal. Everybody knows what a daisy looks like. Just make daisies. I never said this was a particular kind of flower, and as long as you know it's a flower and your eye can tell it's a flower, it will always look good. Never say I can't. You have to try. I am not an expert in any way when it comes to watercolor painting. It's just draw what you see. And all I'm doing is adding the shadows to the base and to the center. I'm allowing the watercolor paper to bleed, and that's all it's doing. It's just grabbing the water and it's bleeding. That's it. You can do this. Anyone can do this. Look at this. There's nothing to it. Nothing, nothing, nothing. You have to try. Okay? You have to try. See how simple that is? It's just creating. All I did was, you want to see me do another one? I'll do another one right down here. Or over here. I'll do one right here. Okay, here we go again. I'm taking a lot of this water and mixing it first, okay, because I want my lightest value first. So I have it's very diluted over here. And then all I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this up to the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, ready? All I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line. That's it, just a line. Anybody can draw a line, right? Anybody can draw a line. See where the water's pulled up? I'm going to have that water feed out this direction. And then I'm going to have it come down here. And I'm going to have it come over here. And then out this way. You can do it. Then I'm going to pick up some more color. And this time it's a little more concentrated, and I'm going to just touch that center and let it pull up right there in the center. I'm just tapping, tap, tap, tap. Okay, see? Anybody can do it. You can do it. Let me hear you say it. I can do it. Everybody has to try. Okay, now I'm going to let that dry for just a second. I'm going to come back over here to my brown that I created. And you want to, you know what? All you have to do if it dries up, just hit it with a little bit of water. That's it. That's what I like about these gelatos, because you could work in a palette and totally, when it dries out, you just hit it with water to reconstitute it. Okay, so then now I need a little branch to come out this way, and I'm just touching the very tip of this paintbrush, the very, very tip. And then I'm going to just, for a little visual interest, I'm going to pull down a little bit this way, and maybe pull one up this way, and one up this way, and one up this way. And if your hands are shaky, even better. And maybe pull one out this way. Okay? So now this is what I have. I mixed, this is how it went. The yellow, the purple, a little blue, a little more yellow. These three colors. Okay? Now I'm going to take, sometimes mud is what you want, right? Okay, so now I'm going to just do a bud. I'm just going to do one single little loop right there on the end. And the same thing over here, but this time I'm going to draw like a little heart on the tip of this one. That's just going to give a little visual interest to something. And then over here, maybe another little heart. Okay. And then I'm going to come back over here and I'm going to draw another little heart coming down here. And a little bud here. Now for the sake of time, I'm kind of probably going to call this a little done. But I would keep playing with it until I'm happy. Keep coming back. This branch looks a little naked here, so maybe draw out another little bit right here. And pull this back in. And pull this back in. And maybe come in. Okay, now I'm going to put this aside and let it dry, because like I said, watercolor paper will only bleed out where it's wet. So I want all of these little spots of color to be completely wet or dry before I go to the next step. And what we're going to do is come back, oops, I'm the wrong one. Come back with the richest of the pigments, which is this pink. Pick up some water on my brush, pick it up straight from the gelato. And I'm going to put just a little more spot of richness right there in the center of these flowers. Okay? And another thing, watercolor is super forgiving, guys. It's super forgiving. How many people are going to try this? I want to hear who's going to try this. I want to see. Do it in an art journal. We're doing this on watercolor panels. You know, there's no wrong way. There's no way to mess it up. Who's going to try it? And all I'm doing is touching at the very base and the center of these flowers. That's it. No, nowhere else. And I think I want to draw out just one more little branch right here. And maybe another one of these little, just a little bud. Okay? And all it is spots of color, just spots. Now look at that. Look at how delicate that is. Okay, let's put this aside and go on to our other projects that we put to the side to dry. Let's finish making out our cards. So I'm going to wipe this all up. I can make it again if I need to as a review, but I want my desk kind of clean before I start the next thing. Okay, so let's go back to these cards. I'm happy with this the way it is. I don't really want to do a whole lot more to it, but what might be fun is to take and make like maybe a little banner that goes here in the center. So I'm going to go back to my, I just have some, maybe, let's see here. I just have some like cardstock here that is just scraps. Let's use this because that kind of keeps with our darkness a little bit. And I want to show you how you can use these gelatos to color up some of your, where's my scissors? Color up some of your twine or seam binding, either one. It'll work with either one. You know, just think of these as pigment sticks. That's all they are. They just have a nice rich tone to them. Maybe put that right there, like that. Okay, so I'm thinking maybe pink. Let me grab, I have just some regular old everyday white twine. Just gonna pull off a little bit of that. So we've used this on a gessoed surface, we've used it on a plain surface, and we're watercolored with it. We've resisted with it. I'm just going to add a little bit of water. Now you could take any of your shimmer spritz and instead of using water, you could totally color this up with your spritzes as well to add a little bit of shimmer to your gelato mixture. Or you could just use plain old gold or silver. And I'm just going to take and run that pigment right over this twine. Now I did moisten the twine so that the twine would pick up the pigment and soak it in a little bit. Okay, look at how cool that is. I have now taken this generic twine and made it a really nice color that matches our card, and we know it's going to match because we used the pigment from the gelato that were used to color the card. We used it to color up our twine, and then I'm just going to blot it up with this paper towel so it will dry a lot faster, and I'm going to put this to the side while I do some stamping on here. So I'm going to come back to this, and I want to add where's my stamps? Over here, I dropped the one on the floor. But we have this really pretty happy birthday right here. No, thinking of you. Let's use that one. Thinking of you. It fits a little better. We're going to come back and I'm going to use my Oh, this is where I could show you how the thingamajig works, or stamp-a-majig thingy works. But I lost the piece. There it is. Watch this. Okay, so if I wanted to color this, okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to line it up. This is how it works. I'm going to line it up, T-square, drop this down in there. There's thinking of you. Okay, wipe this off really well. Try not to drop it on the floor and lose it forever. Oh shoot, what did I do that for? Hang on a minute. I messed up. Okay, thinking of you. Now, we're going to take this right here and we're going to line this up on here so we know right where we want to put it. Now, because this is a dark color and you don't want that embossing powder on everything, I'm going to use my embossing buddy. I didn't use it before because we were embossing white on white, but I'm going to use my embossing buddy and I'm going to just kind of pounce it onto this cardstock. This is just a piece of scrap paper I had in my stash. Okay, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to figure out the placement using this as my guide, and then I'm going to line up my thingamajiggy here, right here, and I'm going to press that down really well, put this to the side, make sure I don't have any of that pigment on here. I'm going to now use my Versa ink on my stamp, and I'm going to line it up with that T-square and I'm going to stamp, and I'm going to make sure I get a good surface. Then I'm going to come back to this guy. Where's my embossing powder? There it is over there. And this would be a great like masculine design as well. Super simple. And I still have a little bit of embossing powder here on the edge, but that's because this cardstock is textured. And if you do, just get a paintbrush, preferably a plain one, and just scrape off all of that. And now we're going to heat emboss it. Does anybody have any questions while I do this? Guys, I am the most stamping challenged individual on the planet. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I promise you. Okay, awesome. Awesome sauce. Okay, then you can just clean that off with alcohol. I used archival ink on that, but you can clean it off with alcohol off the Stamp-A-Majig platform. Okay, I'm going to put that to the side for now. And I'm going to clean up my embossing powder. Does anybody have any questions so far? Are you liking this class? And then the next thing I want to teach you after I get this all tied up and this card made, I want to show you guys how you can use your Whipped Spackle. Okay, let's just cut off some of that. Tie a little bow on this. Oh, maybe I need to not go so big with that. Tie a little bow. And then I'm just going to put it on that card front with a piece of foam tape. Fumble fingers in action here. Apparently I'm bow tying challenged tonight too. It helps when your string isn't wet, because I think that's what's happening here, is it's still a little damp where we colored it, but that's okay, we're making it work. Okay, super cute, super cute. Tie that off so it's even. Scooch this down just a little bit. Do y'all say words like scooch anywhere?